I hope you have started reading the books. I want you to think about
Hey friends, where are we today? We are on the banks of Tapi. It has a new address. We are at Diamond City, Surat. No, today we have redefined it. We are at the city where Fountainhead School exists. Yes, a school founded by Mr. Vardan Kabra, the guy who studied from IIT, from IIM Ahmedabad, and has started a school. Could you even think of? Because people mostly go to the corporate job and earn big money. Who starts a school? Yes, he has made a notified experience for people across the globe where 2,200 kids study under his vision on a single roof. Yes, how does he do it? Why does Fountainhead become the only Google school of Gujarat? Why Fountainhead has got so much technology within it? Why Fountainhead to be chosen as an IB board school? What are the difference between boards? How does the school go ahead? Lot of talks to do with him. Let's connect with him and take it further. We are with Mr. Vardan Kabra, Fountainhead School, Surat. So the first question that comes to a very common thought, being a graduate from IIM Ahmedabad, a public assumes that you have to go to a corporate with a fat salary sitting there, making strategies, creating plans. A school is actually a thought process of teacher क्यों बनता है कोई IIM से पास होके? Is something what the first question goes. Why did you opt for starting a school?
Yeah, I know. My parents also had this question when I made this decision, and they were not happy about it initially. For me, I think there are two reasons why I got into education. One was my own experience with schooling. I studied in 11 schools across India, actually literally all parts of India, and I was also abroad for 2 years. And my own experience with education showed that education needs to be a lot more meaningful and joyful for students. I mean, I was a good student. Despite that, I didn't enjoy education. I mean, so that was the first trigger. And the second was when I was at IIT Bombay before coming to IMA, the entrepreneurship bug hit me there. This was 1999, 2000. A lot of campus startups were there. So at that time, I decided that I'm going to do something on my own. I'm not going to take up a job in the corporate world, even though there would be good options after engineering or after the MBA. So I think those two things together, and there was mentorship when we were at IMA. Both my wife and I, Ankita, my batchmate from Ahmedabad, we had a good mentor in the form of Professor Suril Handa. He runs Globally School in Ahmedabad. So and he was our professor for entrepreneurship. Okay. So I think all of that together put me on this decision of starting a school.
Oh, so this actually comes from the Guru, as a Guru Dakshina from Mr. Handa, rather than he initiating a thought. That's great. Sir, again, the question aligns to the same. Because it's an IB board school, which you started like maybe 2000, like when you started in 2005.
Correct.
It was not that a catchy word in 2005 to go to an IB board school. How did you initiate? What were your initial challenges which came? Because, you know, again, when you start a school, there is a business proposition also. The survival also matters. So what was the parents' reaction? What was your first day of inquiries? And how did you manage the whole show as an IB board? First IB board, I would say, for Surat?
Definitely. I mean, definitely the first. And in fact, when we started this campus in 2008, we were only the 13th or 14th PYP school in India at that time. So it's not just in Surat, but across India, there were very few schools at that point of time. So in fact, we started the preschool in 2005 and started this campus in 2008 with the IB here. So a lot of our parents who were moving from the preschool to here, in fact, all of them asked this, why are you doing IB? I mean, just do something more palatable like CBSE or ICSE or something like that. So the reason why we chose the IB was because it is very close to what we believe about education. It is holistic, it is driven by child's curiosity. The assessments are not based on memorization of facts and information and just giving them in the exams. So for us, the IB made a lot of sense, and that the reason why we are in education is to do education differently. So it was not about what necessarily parents would prefer, but it was about what we believe is right. And we had the conviction to tell our parents that no, we believe this is right and your child will progress, will enjoy it.
Oh, that's great, amazing. Sir, a lot of times our audience wish to understand the difference between ICSE, IB, IGCSE and CBSE.
Sure.
Why and who should opt for IB? Why should one opt for IB? Because majority of the times they feel like, if you go for IB, you have to go abroad.
Correct.
So is it the right thing or is it a myth?
I think that's a myth that we now have. Now I think IB schools across India expect not more than 60% students to go abroad. It could be as low as 40% or even 20% for some schools. Depends on where the school is. In our case, it is about 50-50. 50% of our kids go abroad, remaining stay in India. And now we have nearly 400 alumni over the last 8 years. And we've seen that they're in all possible range of colleges in India and abroad, of course. So firstly, I think that myth that IB is only for students who want to go abroad is not right. Yes, there is a reason why a lot of students from the IB tend to go abroad, because IB schools are typically premium schools, so the parents can also afford good education abroad, and therefore if they want to look at good education options which are limited in India, that's the reality, then they prefer to go abroad. Having said that, the education wise IB is, I believe, for everyone, especially today when we're talking about generative AI, and internet has been around for 20 years. A system where we are only memorizing information and giving exams is not useful. We want an education where students can build 21st century skills and attitudes, creativity and communication and so on and so forth. For that, the IB is a fantastic framework. Of course, it still depends on the school delivering it right, but the framework that the IB provides is in line with that.
That's great about the board. I was here in the school since morning and I understood none of the kid of your school was moving around with a book. Why is it so?
So I think the model of having a fixed content which is defined by a textbook written by a set of people once in maybe 5, probably 15 years, I don't think it works today. Right. I think content has to be updated on a regular basis. The IB is clear with that philosophy. They do not expect you to have textbooks till grade 10, and we fully subscribe to that philosophy. That content is right everywhere around us now. What we really need to be learning, and students need to be learning, is how to understand the world around them, how to recognize problems and solve them. And that does not require a fixed textbook. That requires them to be able to learn from experts. Yes, learn from textbooks also, but learn from experts, learn from their surroundings and the internet and so on.
So there has been a thought wherein if I'm in class 1 today, 12 years down the line, whatever is being taught gets obsolete.
Absolutely.
It is not actually relatable to the external world. How does Fountainhead School takes care of these challenges, which is actually a life problem?
So, in fact, this is the first thing that we communicate to all our new parents coming in. We do a workshop which is called Education for Tomorrow. We have now done this with about 7,000 people over the last 15-16 years.
Is it common for everyone or your parents?
Our parents. It's for people who want to take admission here.
Right.
So it's essentially for them. Happy to do it for others also. But the idea that we communicate strongly. In fact, we start with 2 quizzes for them, which is of standard. Let me give you an example. Okay, so like, how does lightning happen and why does it move in a zigzag manner? And there'll be like 20-25 such questions which parents are expected to answer. The pass rate in this is 1% or so, because people don't remember these things. As you said rightly, all the content that they've learned in their school is obsolete. I mean, either it's obsolete or you don't remember.
Right.
One of the 2 things applies. So I think that message goes across very strongly to parents that remembering things from the textbook for the sake of giving examinations is not education that is needed today.
I would again say, as a parent, there's always a wish like my kid should should go for JEE, should go for NEET, should go for UPSC as an exam. What are the answers to those queries when they come to you as a parent?
I think absolutely you're right that I've gone through conventional schooling and I've gone through two of the top public institutions in India through the competitive examination route, and many of our parents do ask that question, that will kids from the IB be able to appear for these exams? So firstly, I want to say that many of our kids have gone for the JEE and the NEET and have got through. We have, in fact, also just 2 years back, we had a top 20 student also. To be honest, or to be completely transparent, they do leave after 10th standard. What happens today is competitive examinations are so difficult that very few students are doing it along with regular school. They're all doing it with dummy or integrated dummy model. That's the reality of it. So I think it is a legitimate route for someone who wants to look at success from that particular angle. There are so many of our almost 12 to 18 lakh students are giving that examination each year for each JEE and NEET. It is very competitive. There is something that the students have to give up to be able to go through that process. So therefore, it's not necessarily for everyone. Having said that, the point we make to all our parents is that these are not the only routes to success in life. That I think is something that everyone needs to recognize, that there are so many people who are successful beyond the IITs or the AIMS or so on and so forth. And especially with technology coming up in such a big way in our work life, I think people can learn anything anywhere today. So this is a message. And of course, being an IB school, I would say that we have less of a problem because our parents do come from relatively better families, better income families, so that they can afford private institutions in India, or as I said, they can go abroad. So it is less of a problem. But I think it is important to communicate to everyone that there are so many more routes to success today.
Right. So what we have seen is you being a strong believer of technology, wherein all the good things flow when it is AI or when it's an ERP or it's a system. I've seen all your kids from grade 5 carrying a device. Correct. Like it's a bring your own device model that we've been working on. And I guess you are the only Google school of Gujarat. Correct. Presently. So with this comes a lot of technology responsibility, which a parent is always scared of. Whenever parent go, what will my child see in the gadget? Second, how will the screen time be managed and monitored? What are the solution to these questions for a parent, sir?
As a parent myself, of a grade 11 and a grade 5, 2 kids, I think I completely agree with the challenges. Both of our kids have gone through that phase, and it is a challenge. I think it is a challenge. But let me put it the other way around to say that irrespective of whether the school has a device policy or not, most kids today have access to devices in any case, whether it is iPads, whether it is PCs, so on, or phones for sure, in any case. So I think it is a responsibility that all of us have as educators, as parents, to help our students understand the rights and wrongs of technology, but also put in monitors to make sure that they don't have easy access to the wrong things on the internet, or their screen time is monitored. So that monitoring has to be done. Often most parents hesitate to take those sort of steps because especially for teenagers, younger kids, they are still able to manage, but teenagers, then they become rebellious. But those rules have to be put in place. The school has to do its part in terms of making students aware of cyberbullying, cyber security related issues, making sure that they're aware of best practices with their passwords, screen time, social media usage, all of those things. So it has to be a partnership between the parents and the school.
As an IB board school, you have a liberal atmosphere wherein kids are open to do everything and whatever they are wanting to do at their own wish, because they become more of decision maker, they become more of asking questions and all those things, because it's an inquiry based curriculum I'm sure you're running.
Yes.
How does a parent has a query, how does the discipline gets inculcated when they are given more liberty, or when they are given more as an open atmosphere? Do they become demanding, or are they into the same discipline which convent educated kids used to be nowadays?
I think that's a great question. It's a very common one for us. And when we talk about freedom, we talk about freedom with responsibility. I mean, there are two sides of the same coin. It cannot happen otherwise. But discipline, the way we look at discipline, is definitely different from the conventional discipline. We're not looking at quiet, obedient students sitting, not being able to even raise a hand or ask questions. We're definitely looking at students being able to ask questions, being able to talk, being able to collaborate, and even being able to ask critical questions to their teachers and to us, not just to teachers, to me as well. They can walk in and ask questions that why do we have such a policy? In fact, I can give you an example. Our uniform policy has evolved in a big way over the last 5-6 years because students have told us that why do we need to wear a certain set of shoes or a certain set of trousers or tracks? And we said, okay, yes, you're right. We should evolve that, and it has changed. So I think students have to be trained to become critical thinkers, to be creative, and therefore they will also be demanding in some ways. They will also ask questions. They will also conventionally we say, back answer their parents or their adults. But I think as adults, it is our responsibility to teach them what is the right way of asking questions. When you have something that you're unhappy about or you want to raise your voice, there is a right way of doing it. And that's what we need to teach them on an ongoing basis. Are we perfect at doing so? No. But it is a process? Absolutely yes. And that's a process that the school and the parents again need to take together.
Sir, as you mentioned about the potential of a kid, I'm sure you measure the potential of a kid, like you felicitate them with a lot of things and then you measure the potential. But I saw in the school the kids were also cooking the food, being Uttarayan around the corner, they were making chikkis. So what is the whole concept about experiential learning or project-based learning that you have been inculcating in the students?
See, our mission statement is to nurture leaders who have both character and competence. So character is all the soft skills part of it, but competence means also having life skills, also being able to relate with the world. So if you talk about Chikki or if you talk about so many other things that students are doing, they get hands-on. And in reality, all of us have evolved to learn with our hands and moving about, listening to stories, telling stories. We've not evolved to sit in one place and write notes and listen and learn. That's not how we naturally learn.
Yes.
So our natural form of learning has to be replicated in the classroom, and that's experiential learning.
Right.
That's by visiting places, that's by talking to people, that's by doing things, whether it is maths, whether it is language, and definitely whether it is science or social studies. So all of those things can be done by doing things, and one of the best ways we feel is to learn through projects. So when you take up a real life problem, some of our students became business consultants for small vendors in their society and neighbors. So they said that, okay, we will help you improve your social media presence or your sales or just your communication, how you communicate with, and then some of our students did this for about 2-3 months. And they were able to, of course, learn a lot themselves in this process. So when you learn through these projects, you're actually learning how real life expects you to work. And that's the best form of learning rather than just memorizing and giving exams. Yes, they have to learn the skills also. They have to know how to do A plus B square and so on and so forth.
Yes.
That's part of the learning process. But if they can also learn this in addition, that would be fantastic.
Oh, so you've been doing so much with the kids. You've been doing so much. Actually, you are not running a school. You're running an experiment lab at the school, I would say. To do this experiment, you need good scientists. How do you take care of the teachers or your staff trainings? What do you do about them?
All our new teachers, when they come in, they spend at least 2 months to going up to 4 months before they get into the classroom in terms of pure training. So there is face-to-face training, there is online training, there is a lot of reading. So first thing is that we don't assume that people are ready to understand and be here, and they get a lot of support and understanding, and they spend a lot of time in the classroom, and they also teach and they get feedback on it very rigorously. Once you join, even then there is continuous training of almost about 20 man days a year, which ensures that has both professional and personal development. We do a series of classes on say learning the right habits or how to build relationships with students and people around them. So all of those are part of our training module, which goes every year on year. We keep doing this to ensure that teachers are also treated and respected as professionals who can learn and move. Otherwise, often teaching becomes the last priority of people, of a lot of people. So here we want to make it something that people look forward to, something that they can aspire to be. And we see that when teachers are given that sort of treatment and the responsibility, and they also are co-constructors of the curriculum.
Right.
They're able to take so much more responsibility and deliver that with love and passion and competence in the classroom.
Now, my last set of questions goes as, if I need to take admission at Fountainhead, what are the skill sets in a child you expect? I don't say how do you interview, it's a wrong word to put, but what are the skill set you expect a child should be with?
So, an interesting aspect is that at the entry level, at the KG level, we do not meet the student or the parents for admission.
Okay.
We do a draw of lots because we have more applications than the number of seats that we have. So we actually pick kids in front of the parents, and it's a transparent process because we believe that all children have the potential. So we are not really distinguishing them on the basis of 3 years old, 4 years old. What can you really expect from them? That's not fair, no? So we don't do any distinguishing. For older students, we do have a readiness test just to make sure that they are at the right literacy, numeracy levels for the grade that they're applying to. Having said that, many kids who are not, we still admit them, understanding that they will need to work a little harder. We work with the parents. We also have additional language support teams, which resource teachers, which help them separately. And we've seen some of these children really prosper and grow. We've had kids coming in grade 5 with completely zero English knowledge and have gone on to do the IB fantastically well in the next 7-8 years, because we believe that children can inherently learn. Yes, parental support and their environment is important. It plays an important role, but even then the school can play a huge role in that.
So if I've studied in a CBSE school up to class 5, and if I in class 6, if I get an admission at Fountainhead School, Surat, how much easy or tough would it be for me to cope up? Because you do everything practically. There, my teachings have been a lot dependent on the books and writings and everything.
Correct.
So how do I, as a kid, succeed or not succeed?
The kids are naturally very adaptable and flexible. They, as I said, they learn. They're naturally curious. They naturally want to do things and learn. So that's the great thing. We just have to discover that aspect of the kid, whether they're coming in grade 5 or in 11th. We also get, in fact, kids till 11th from other boards. And we typically will take them through a process, depending on which grade they're coming in, do some sort of a boot camp with them so that they understand what they can expect, even teach them skills where necessary. But we typically see that 95% of those kids adapt in the next 2 to 3 months with the system that we have, because it's a more natural way of learning. It requires them to give up on the textbook, yes. They have to learn through the world around them. And that takes a little bit of a mindset change. But if the parents are supportive, and typically they are, because that's why they're coming in here. So the transition becomes quite smooth.
Sir, you've been talking a lot on developing kids on the 360-degree level when it comes to academics, practical-based, project-based learning or experiential learning. How do you see the future of Fountainhead kids into sports? Because we have seen you have huge playgrounds. You have a lot of different things wherein kids can do activities. So if you could put some light on the sports that you vision.
I think let me take a step back and first say that why is there a strong emphasis on sports? And I think that one of the biggest qualities that we want our kids to have is resilience. This one parents also understand and recognize, not necessarily in the same phrase, but the overall meaning of resilience. And one of the best places to learn that is the sports field. You learn from failures. You know you're not going to be the best anytime soon, but you still work hard at it. You have to learn from these failures and move ahead. So with that in mind, our emphasis on sports has been very strong. So therefore, whether it is football, volleyball, basketball, ultimate frisbee is something that I play a lot and our kids also play. Wall climbing is something which is challenging for everyone. We've just set up a new calisthenics area. All of these things are sports teaches so many values. And we want our kids to, even if not all our kids are going to be at a national level or a state level, but we want everyone to play and feel that joy and the failure that comes along with sports. And of course, we have players in football and basketball and ultimate frisbee who have gone on to the national level also. So that's something that we want to continue working on as a school and promote as much of that as possible to all our students.
Oh, that's really great. So if you like playing sports and the school encourages, what's better than that? Sir, I see a very great book, wherein reimagining Indian education has been the title. And rather than looking to on the front side, what I saw on the last page was how many adults use quadratic equation in their daily life or even at work. It's a very sarcastic line that is written, but we would like to understand about the book, sir.
I think it connects to what I've been talking about. The fact that trying to teach content to kids and expecting them to be able to either memorize and remember it for their life ahead has no value. That's the broad point I'm making here. You spoke about the quadratic equation. I'll give you a much simpler example of a square root. All of us know what a square root is. We've all learnt it in school. I ask parents how many of them have used it in their life in the last 5 years. No one raises their hand. Have you used a square root in the last 5 years?
I would have used to multiply the money or calculate the money.
Okay,
that's it.
Maybe at best to that extent. If you're doing financial calculations, you'll need some exponentials. To that extent, yes. That also it's a black box.
Right.
Because you put it into the formula and the results come out. The point is that unless you understand the application of something and you are thought of it when we are learning it. See, all of us as kids have asked this question कि मैं ये क्यों सीख रहा हूँ? ये कहाँ काम आएगा मुझे? Unless the kid is answered that question when they are learning it, they are not going to really enjoy learning. The learning is not going to be meaningful. I'm not claiming that our kids are going to remember how to solve quadratic equations 10 years down the line, but at least they will have a sense of, okay, this is where they've learned how to apply it, and they will be able to ask the right questions when a problem comes up in front of them. That's the challenge. That's what we want to move towards. And the book is about moving towards that sort of education, moving towards problem-based learning, project-based learning.
Now you're offering so many good things here sitting at Surat. My question is, when are you planning to expand, move to other cities? Where can we see Fountainhead multiplying?
So I'll put it this way that when we started, our intent was to get deep into education, to do the best that we can. And I think that's what we've been doing for the last 15 years. I think we will still improve and grow in the next 15 years. Having said that, what we believe is that we now do have an understanding of education which we can take to many other places. We are figuring out options is what I can tell you, that we are figuring out the best ways of doing it. Because as I was telling you earlier, doing something with quality at scale is a challenge, especially in education. I wouldn't say it has been solved very well, but maybe that's something that we will.
But then I put it as if you get a right match, you're open to it.
Sure.
Oh wow, that's great. Sir, it was really glad meeting you. It was really glad exploring Fountainhead. We never knew that a school in Surat would be offering such a global level exposure to the kids, which is just awesome. I'm sure NEP is being thought in 2020, but Fountainhead has been doing it since 2005. So that's what they have been carved out of. Sir, thank you so much for being on our show, sir. It was great meeting you and exploring Fountainhead.
Thank you, Shaishav. Had a brilliant session with you.
Thank you so much, sir. What an interaction. It left me speechless. Someone is running the show so well. मतलब ये जान के ही आश्चर्य लगता है that after making such a great show, एक जो satisfaction आती होगी, what an amazing would it have been. Fountainhead School Surat, Mr. Vardan Kabra, such a great combo. We asked them whether he would like to expand to other cities or not, and he's positive to it. So we have opportunity for other cities also to be blessed if Fountainhead comes there. But yes, interacting with Mr. Vardan Kabra, an amazing show. I guess all of you would have enjoyed this interaction. Do comment us, what would you like to know more? Do comment us. If we missed out any question and you have any query, we would post it to Mr. Kabra and I'm sure he would answer it for you. क्योंकि कोई पढ़ा लिखा बंदा चला रहा है स्कूल अच्छी चल रही है, बहुत अच्छा. मिलेंगे आपको एक अगले शो में where we are exploring some new school who is doing some differentiated work. Till then, be with us, keep liking us, keep following us and share our thoughts.